full. I really don't know what just happened, because when I hit record, and normally what I do is I hit record and I start talking, and then I start, but then I didn't see the timestamp starting until, like, I don't know, and then I hear it. I think it's because it's attached to my hearing aids. So I got reading glasses, so I went to go get my eyes checked, and then it was like, yep, your age is showing, good sir. And I was like, man, what does that mean? I know that my eyes are kind of they're kind of slacking a little bit. So yeah, they said that my left eye was a little bit worse than my right eye, but I have to get reading glasses because I couldn't, like, something that's out in front of me like this far, I can't read it. Even like a little bit further out, I can't read it. But I can see everything out into the distance, but not close in front of me. And because I started realizing, like, oh man, even with my iPad, as big as my iPad is, it's hard for me to see the game, like with the small details, like with enemies off in the distance and stuff. I'm talking about PUBG Mobile. And so I got my ears. Now I can hear probably everything, but my eyes, I have to use reading glasses to see everything, because before I wasn't. And so I was playing last night. And so I play with normally the same 2 people every night, and varying the same 3 others, but we could only fit 4 in a squad. And the stats of all of us are generally, it's not the same. It's like it staggers across the board. But if you were to look at the big picture, we're all pretty much equal. Like if we're looking at, of the total players that play, you know, I can't even tell you how many millions of people play the game, but we're pretty much in the same, like, top 5 percentile, if you will, in ace tier. So, you know, I was thinking, because, you know, we talk about life, we talk about, you know, the game and stuff like that, and we were talking about, like, the different tactics, and each game can last up to, like 30 minutes long. Sometimes we die within the first 3 minutes of the game. So I'm looking at the stats. I'm talking about stats as far as, like, the acute variables of each game, going into the specific details of which weapons I used, which weapons I got the most kills with, most damage with, most knocks with, and where I hit, you know, the targets, and what percent of my bullets hit the targets and what didn't, you know, so on and so forth. And so I started looking at some of the statistics of other players, and it's like, dang, I'm high, really good compared to other players that I was randomly sampling in my friends list. And when I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm looking at, like, the different types of players that I play with daily, and then the random players that I was selecting just to look at their stats and stuff, and it dawned on me, like, every single one of us are humans. We're all people behind a device, whatever the device is, and each of us have families. Some are immediate families, like mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa, cousins. But then you have others that don't have those immediate families. Maybe, you know, they were maybe they're in their 70s and all of their family has passed away, or maybe they're even younger and all of their family has passed away, but they have families like, they have a friend network and they consider families, or maybe they have adopted families where they have been adopted, essentially, not like legally adopted, but like, I call you my son because you're my son. I look after you like you're my own child, but you're not my child, kind of thing. Or I look at you as my father, but you're not my father. You're taking the place of, because I don't have. And then, all this stuff like was going on in the back of my head. Actually, not really in the back of my head. I was thinking about it when I was listening to this cat, like they weren't calling us hackers. They were calling probably whoever took them out that ended up taking us out hackers, because when you die in the game, you are able to follow, watch the person that killed you, spectate, and you can basically get on all comms to where if their mic is on, you can talk to them and call them out, or be like, and I've actually called people out, be like, hey, yo, that was a good shot, man. That, props to you. That was a good move, or good teamwork. I love how you guys are playing. And I also can be like, hey, bro, that's an obvious hack, man. You are reported, dropping it like it's hot. But I could tell that this person was pissed off because they were killed by a hacker. And then I can hear them talking on all comms. Even though I was killed by the hacker, this other person, we can communicate now on all chat. And he was like, man, hackers like going around messing up people's stats. That's just wrong. And I was like, dang, man, this is a real dude that got taken down by a hacker. So it wasn't the hacker that got me thinking about this. It was just the whole situation and the communication and stuff. And then it got me really thinking about, like, with the stats and all the stuff that goes on into the game and why people play. And it made me realize that it's important for everyone to know who it is that they're playing with and why they're playing the game. Because it would make sense why they do what they do, or why they don't do what they should do, or why they don't do what they don't do. I mean, it just like almost like you're creating a profile of that person so that you can kind of look after them in a time of weakness and kind of get close to them in your time of weakness when they're exhibiting a strength. You know what I'm saying? So you have players like Bag of Soup. Bag of Soup plays, we're not talking about PUBG Mobile, we're talking about like he plays to play with his kids. You got some players that play just for their YouTube channel. You got some people that play because they're going through a marital, issue and they're trying to displace their mind. You have others that are going through, trying to prevent themselves from relapsing from a drug addiction. Got other people that are playing because they're playing with their best friend and it's like, Ready Player One. They play because they've never met the person in real life, but that person or those people are their best friends. Like, that's their community, that's their family. Other people play for stats. Other people play for rank. It runs a whole series of small, like if you look at a ruler, instead of saying like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inch, all the way to a foot long, like there's people that like have major, like the big inch marks would be like major Ys they play. And then the small little, what would be like centimeters or millimeters, whatever, eighths of an inch, quarter inch, would be like the many different reasons why they play. Doesn't equal, one total thing. It's just a lot of small reasons to play. And so when we go into these games, just not even taking that into consideration, we get pissed off because of the outcome of a game. And that's one thing. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to be pissed off if you don't know why, certain things went on, because there's a lot of things there's a lot of variables that you can't control. I mean, you can't control, hackers one shot killing you. You can't control, whatever. I mean, most of the decisions that you make in the game most outcomes in a game you have control over, which, in the immediate, it doesn't seem obvious, but like when you start to actually look at the individual choices that you as an individual player make, and then how it stacks in importance when those other players that you're playing with in your squad are doing the exact same thing, the micro little small incremental choices that those players make in their moves. And you add it all up together, and next thing you know, you're on top of a cliff. You can't get down. Now you're stuck in a blue zone. And if you jump to land to run out of blue, your health is, you're going to die. And then you're going to die into the blue. So it's like, what incremental choices are being made in those moments? In those moments that led up to whatever clutch decision that needs to be made, like why it's being, how it's going to impact the whole as a whole. Like the driver of the squad, that driver has to make sure that they navigate the best route possible to maintain speed, to get from point A to point B the fastest as possible, speed, and to limit the amount of obstacles that if you lose control of the vehicle, you don't hit something right at a moment where there's another squad that you didn't see. You don't have spotter. I mean, there's so many variables to consider. And then it all goes back to the human component of the other players that are behind their devices, that are playing the game, and why they're playing it, because it affects the choices that they're making in the moment, and it's impacting the choices that they made prior. Like Tony Robbins says, and I've said it many times, every thought and or action is a cause set in motion. I take a ball right now and I go and I open up my door and I roll it into the parking lot, and it hits a hubcap off on someone's car, and the hubcap falls off. That's got to be a pretty dope ball, right? So every thought and or action is a cause set in motion. So the outcome of my ball rolling into that car's hubcap over there and falling off is the effect. That hubcap fell off. The cause was the ball. Every thought and or action. The thought was me saying that. My action was, I'm going to do what I just thought. I'm going to roll the ball. So running into a squad, getting owned, or getting the chicken dinner, or whatever it is, every thought and or action is a cause set in motion. And if we don't realize the human component of those we are playing with, and that we are ourselves, we will be bound to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again, into the moment that you just end up being like, you know what? I absolutely hate this effing game. I'm done. I cannot play anymore. I'm tired of being stressed out. I'm tired of getting killed. I suck. There's too many hackers. There's too many this. There's too many that. I'm just done. Whereas that could have been essentially rectified by realizing the human component of those that you are playing with, and that you yourself make up to where when you can communicate with other people that are either on your squad or that you just randomly play with or whatever, and get an idea of their why. Why are they playing? What are their perceived strengths and weaknesses? And what are their blind spots, their blind strengths and weaknesses, those unseen that they don't realize themselves. They don't, like this, the unconscious competence. I don't know how much I know, or the conscious incompetence. I know what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to be consciously competent. I know how much I know. You just got to stay away from those unconscious incompetence. Those who don't know how much they don't know. You know what I mean? So all that being said, somewhere, shape, or form, I know that I went in circles in that, but I hope I didn't. And I hope the code for this here client of mine's condo doesn't work. No, I hope it works, but it doesn't work. All right, I gotta roll. I have to call them and get them to let me in, and I have to back up so that whoever can. Oh, there's someone leaving. Maybe I can go in the opposite direction. That's a hacker. I'm hacking the situation, y'all. Anyways, I hope y'all are good. No matter where you are in the world, I hope you, your friends, and your family are happy, healthy, and safe. Get to know the people that you play with, guys. For real. That applies to every single one of you. Even those who don't think that you need to, or you think you know the people that are to your left and to your right. You'd be very surprised. Why do you play? But I'm going to share with you why I play. Peace, guys.